Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a good weekend, a good Saturday. I haven't been on here very much because I've been super busy with work and school and everything. So I'm going to kind of hold off on the Thinkful, finishing up that program. And I'm focusing on my college classes because I'm taking college classes right now. So right now I'm just going to do a study session with the web design class that I'm taking right now. Right now, the focus is for CSS. So I'm going to be going over that and then getting some of my homework done. And then hopefully I can circle back to the Thinkful course. So I am going to go ahead and jump right into it. I did cover already HTML basics in the first chapter, or in the second chapter. I'm in the third chapter now. So kind of went over a little bit already, but not too much for CSS. So I left off here, choose the terms that indicate the two parts of a CSS style rule, and that would be the selector and declaration. Says style sheets are composed of style rules that describe the styling to be applied. Each rule has two parts, a selector and a declaration. All right, the background color property, the CSS background color property configures the background color of an element. Following style rule will configure the background color of a web page to be yellow. Notice how the declaration is enclosed with braces and how the colon symbol separates the declaration property and the declaration value. So we have the body background color is going to be yellow. So we have our selector, declaration property, and declaration value. The color property, the CSS color property configures the text foreground color of an element. And the following CSS style rule will configure the text color of a web page to be blue. Okay, then that's what the code is going to look like for that. Configure background and text color. Figure 3.3 displays a web page with a white text and an orchid background. To configure more than one property for a selector, use a semicolon to separate the declarations as follows. So we have our body, and then for multiple colors, we have color, white, background color, orchid. A web page with orchid background color and white text, so that's how it would look. The spaces in these declarations are optional. The ending semicolon is also optional, but useful in case you need to add additional style rules at a later time. The following code samples are also valid. So we have this example if we want to add multiple colors, and we just have some different spacing options, it looks like. Configure the color of the text with the which one? Figure the color of the text with the, with the color property. And we're just going to check our little self-check. The color property sets the color of the text. You might be asking yourself, how would you know what properties, values, how would you know what properties and values can be used? See the CSS property reference in Appendix C for a detailed list of CSS properties. This chapter introduces you to some of the CSS properties commonly used to configure color and text. In the next sections, we'll take a look at how color is used on web pages. Using color on web pages, monitors display color as a combination of different intensities of red, green, and blue, a concept known as RGB color. RGB intensity values are numerical from 0 to 255. Each RGB color has 3 values, one each for red, green, and blue. These values are always listed in the same order, red, green, blue, and specifically the numerical value of each color used. All right, you will usually use hexadecimal color values to specify RGB color on web pages. So here we have the hexadecimal color values and the color swatches. Hexadecimal color values. Hexadecimal is the name for the base 16 numbering system, which uses the characters 0 through 9 and then A, B, C, D, E, and F to specify numeric values. Hexadecimal color values specify RGB color with numeric value pairs ranging from 0 to F, 0 to 255 in base 10. Each pair is associated with the amount of red, green, and blue displayed. Using this notation, one would specify the color red as that, and the color blue. The pound symbol signifies that the value is a hexadecimal. You can use either uppercase or lowercase letters in hexadecimal color values. We have that. Doesn't matter. They're both going to be red. Don't worry, you won't need to do calculations to work with web colors. Thank goodness for that. You just become familiar with the numbering scheme. See figure 3.5 for an excerpt from the color chart at Web Dev Foundations.net. Let's go ahead and open that in a new tab. Take a look at it. Ooh, that looks so cool. They're so pretty. Look at all those colors. And they have the hexadecimal within each one of them so that you can easily pick which one you want. Okay. That's the partial color chart, and then the full color chart. I'm going to go ahead and just save that. Web safe colors. Back in the day of 8-bit color monitors, web page color could be problematic, and it was important to use one of the 216 web safe colors, which display in a similar manner on both the Mac and PC platforms. The hexadecimal color values of web safe colors use the numerals 033, 6699, C, C, and FF. The 216 web safe colors make up the web safe color palette found in the appendix. Also at that website we just went to, now that most monitors display millions of colors, using web safe colors is less important. The web safe color palette is rather limited, and it is common for today's web designers to choose colors creatively rather than select them only from the palette. Okay. Oh, I forgot to switch back. Okay, there we go. CSS color syntax. CSS syntax allows you to configure colors in a variety of ways. Color name, hexadecimal color value, hexadecimal shorthand color value, decimal color value, RGB triplet, HSL, hue, saturation, and lightness, color value notation. Looks like we'll get more into that in chapter 4. We'll typically use hexadecimal color values in this book. Table 3.1 shows CSS syntax examples that configure a paragraph with red text. CSS color syntax examples. So we have this nice little table here. So we have color red, color name. Okay, so we just have the different ways that you can use that different syntax with CSS. Shorthand hexadecimal. 1 character for each hexadecimal pair, used only with web-safe colors. All right, and then we have decimal color value. Okay. That is our hue, saturation, and lightness example. Cool. How do I choose a color scheme for a web page? There's a lot to consider when you select a color scheme for a website. The colors that you choose set the tone and help to create a web presence for the company or organization that appeals to the target audience. The colors you choose for text and background need to have a good contrast in order to be readable. We'll explore techniques for choosing a color scheme in chapter 5. All right. We have inline CSS with style attribute. Recall that there are 4 methods for configuring CSS inline. Configuring CSS. There's inline, embedded, external, and imported. In this section, we focus on inline CSS using the style attribute. Inline style. Wait a minute. Did I already? So I briefly went over all of these things in the overview. Yeah, okay. The style attribute. Inline styles are coded as an attribute on an HTML tag using the style attribute. The value of the style attribute is set to the style rule declaration that you need to configure. Recall that a declaration consists of a property and a value. Each property is separated from its value with a colon. The following code will use inline styles to set the text color of an H1 tag to a shade of red. So this is how this looks. We have H1 style, our CSS color, hexadecimal color, and that's going to display a red heading. If there's more than one property, they are separated by using a semicolon. The following code configures the heading with a red text color and a gray background color. So we have our heading, style, red for the heading, and then background color is going to be gray. This is displayed as a red heading on a gray background. Here we go with some hands-on practice. In this hands-on practice, you'll configure a web page with inline styles. The inline styles will specify the following: global body tag styles for an off-white background with a teal text. These styles will be inherited by other elements by default. For example, yeah, body style, yep, and then styles for an H1 element with a teal background with off-white text. This style will override the global styles configured on the body element. For example, we have this. Okay, and then a sample is shown in figure 3.6. Launch a text editor, select File, Open. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open up Notepad++ because that's what I've been using for this class. It's not letting me share both of these pages. Let's see. Okay, so for this one, we're gonna select a file, open, to edit the template file located at chapter 3. How do I make, let me see, how do I make this screen viewable? Not exactly sure how to make my whole screen viewable. Let's see. Share screen. Okay. Actually, let me go back. Okay, how do I go back? Let's see here. Here we go. I think we have it. There. Okay, perfect. So we have our code here, and then we're going to open it up over here. So, file open to edit the template file located in chapter 3. So my documents. Do I have it in here? Okay. All right. Oops. Okay, that's not struggling right now. All right, so let me do something really quick. Let's see. I need to extract that file first. Okay, now we should be set. Let me try that again. Open, and here we go. Why is that popping up? Okay. Running into some technical difficulties, but that's all right. Here we go, template. And we're going to edit. Finally, got it open. All right, in the student files, there we go, modify the title element and add heading tags, paragraph tags, style attributes, and text to the body section as indicated by the following code. So we have that. That's good. So we're going to sneak in here after the heading input inline CSS example And then we have all right, there we go. Okay, so that looks good. And then for the body, we're going to add, this is where we're going to add our style, our CSS. It's going to be background. I know I'm copying what is in the lesson, but you have to copy what's there in order to get familiar with it and build the muscle memory. So that's why I'm copying it, because it's good practice. And it's how I learn. So background color. And then we're going to do, it looks like I put a space there. I don't need to. F5, F5, F5. A lot of this is probably going to be copy paste, I would imagine. 008080. And then we have our, where's that little guy? Oh, he's already there. Okay. And then we have H1 style. That is going to be a little tag in there. There we go. Is that right? We have more to it. We're going to do inline CSS. H1. Closing header. Okay, yeah, that looks right. And then our paragraph. This paragraph inherit styles applied to the body tag. Close paragraph. And then we end with our body tag. We have the ending body tag, the ending HTML tag. And there we go. All right, web page using inline styles. Save the document as inline. Save it. It's inline. I don't think I put that because it's already saved as HTML. On your hard drive or flash drive, launch your browser to test your page. Okay, so we're gonna test it out. Let's see how this inline goes. Oh, cool. There it is. Close out of these probably. This paragraph inherits a style. Okay, that's how it should look, and that's how it looks. I probably don't need that inline example. And let's save it again. All right, let me try and open it again and see if that is gone this time. Yep, okay, perfect. So that's good. Note that the inline styles applied to the body tag are inherited by other elements on the page, such as the paragraph, unless more specific styles are specified, such as those coded on the H1 tag. So you can really do that for any of your tags. You can compare your work with the solutions found in chapter 3. And I think we're good, but we can just double check. Yeah, it matches. Cool. All right. Let's continue and add another paragraph with the text color configured to be dark gray. So we're going to add this. So this time we're going to edit the paragraph. I'm going to add a little style to it. Three, 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 three. All right, we're gonna save it. In line. All right, and now we're gonna open this one up and see how it looks. I have way too many. Okay, so it looks like that. It looks good. And then if we want to just check the solution, just to be sure. Oh, I guess it is a different sentence there. We have this paragraph, so paragraph overrides. Man, I can't talk. There we go. Yep. Let's save it. And we'll reopen that just to make sure it is in line with what they want. Chapter 3. Okay. And then where's my... So they wanted me to add this paragraph to the other one that was there, but I ended up deleting it and I wasn't supposed to do that. All right, but it's still correct. Note that the inline styles applied to the second paragraph override the global styles applied to the body of the web page. Second paragraph's inline styles override the global styles configured on the body tag. Are inline styles recommended? While inline styles can sometimes be useful, you'll find that you won't use this technique much in practice. It's inefficient, adds extra code to the web page document, and is inconvenient to maintain. However, inline styles can be quite handy in some circumstances, such as when you post an article to a content management system or blog and need to tweak the site-wide styles a bit to help you get your point across. All right, cool. Moving right along. Embedded CSS with the style element. In the previous hands-on practice, you added inline styles for one of the paragraphs. To do so, you coded a style attribute on the paragraph element. But what if you needed to configure the styles for 10 or 20 paragraphs instead of just one? Using inline styles, you might be doing a lot of repetitive coding. While inline styles apply to one HTML element, embedded styles apply to an entire web page. The opening style tag and the closing style tag contain the list of embedded style rules. Embedded styles apply to the entire document and are typically placed within a style element located in the head section of a web page. Note that while HTML 5.2 also allows the style element in the body section, we'll always code the style element in the head section. The web page in figure 3.8 uses embedded styles to set the text color and background color of the web page document with the body element selector. See the example in the student files at chapter 3. Embed code follows. That's how it is. Okay. So we have embedded styles example, and that's going to look like that with the style. Okay. Ooh. All right. So we have our whole section there with style. Notice the way the style rules were coded, with each rule on its own line. Okay. This formatting is not required for the styles to work, but it makes the style more readable and easier to maintain than one long row of text. The styles are in effect for the entire web page document because they were applied to the body tag using the body element selector. Yep, there it is. Launch the text editor. Okay, we're going back to our pages here. So we have our text editor here. And open the starter HTML file from chapter 3 folder. Okay, so we have starter. That's what it looks like. We're going to go ahead and edit it. We're going to save a copy as embedded. And that is going to be right there. Notice that the web page code uses header, nav, main, footer, h1, h2, PUL, and LI elements. In this hands-on practice, you will code embedded styles to configure selected background and text colors. You will use the body element selector to configure the default background color and the text color for the entire page. You will also use the H1 and H2 element selectors to configure different background and text colors for the heading areas. Edit the embedded HTML file in the text editor and add the following code below the title element. All right, so I'm going to add it below the title. Let's see. So this is what we're going to code. I'm just going to go ahead and just copy paste. View this up a little bit. Okay, there we go. So we have all of our different style right there. Save your file and test it. Let's go ahead and save it. And we're going to test it. And that's how it looks. I don't feel like it looks any different. Maybe it didn't save all the way. Sometimes it doesn't save. Okay, now let's see if it displays. No. Okay, so maybe I did something wrong there. We're going to look at the example. That's how it should look. So I'm going to go ahead and open this with Notepad++ and kind of see what it looks like. So maybe it's because I put it in the wrong area. There we go. So I'm going to save that again. Let's see if moving that made a difference. Didn't make a difference. Okay, so we have, seems like everything is how it should be. Hmm. I'm not sure why that's not. I did something wrong here. Are the colors not changed? Okay, so all right, so we have that, we have that. Yes, that looks good. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. That looks exactly the same. I think I'm gonna go ahead and move along because it looks correct. An example of the web, note that all the styles were located in a single place on the web page. Since embedded styles are coded in a specific location, they are easier to maintain over time than inline styles. Also, notice that you coded the styles for the H2 element selector only once in the head section. Okay. Note all the styles that were located in a single place. Okay. And both of the H2 elements apply to the H2 styles. This approach is more efficient than coding the same inline style on each H2 element. In the next section, you'll use a more productive approach, configuring an external style sheet. The web page after embedded styles are configured. Okay. Coding CSS is a detail-oriented process. There are several common errors that can cause the browser not to apply CSS correctly to a web page. With a careful review of your code and the following tips, you should get your CSS working. Verify that you are using colon and semicolon. in the right spots. They're easy to confuse. The colon should separate the properties from their values, while the semicolon should be placed between each property value configuration. Check that you're not using equal sign instead of colon between each property and its value. Verify that curly braces are properly placed around the style rules for each selector. Yeah, it looks like it. Check the syntax of your selectors, the selector's properties, and the property values for correct usage. If part of your CSS works and part doesn't, read through the CSS and determine the first rule that is not applied. Often the error is in the rule above the rule. Okay, maybe that's why. Let me see if maybe that made a difference. It did not. It did not make a difference. Okay, I think I found the problem. Where does that go? It goes after the style. I think this was the issue. We'll see if that did the trick. It did not. Didn't fix it. Let's try saving it one more time. Okay. No. Nope. What if I copy this whole entire thing over to this one and then save it? Let's see if it does it now. If it still doesn't save it, then I don't know. It might be something else happening there. All right, let's see if this goes through. Okay, so there was definitely something that just wasn't quite right. And I'm not sure what it was. Maybe there's some spacing issues, but it really is a matter of attention to detail. If part of your CSS works and part doesn't, read through the CSS and determine the first rule that is not applied. Often the error is in the rule above the rule that is not applied. Use a validation application to check your CSS code. The W3C has a free CSS code validator, and they also have HTML validator that I went over in the last unit, in the last chapter, so that's pretty cool. The W3C's CSS validator can help you find syntax errors. See section 3.11 for an overview of how to use this tool to validate your CSS. You can choose your file and boop. School. Did I skip right past it? I sure did. That's how you check it. It's so cool. I love that. List 3 reasons to use CSS on a web page. When designing a page that uses colors other than the default colors of the text for the text and background, explain why it's a good reason to configure both the text color and the background color. Describe one advantage of using embedded styles instead of inline styles. As we kind of went over, embedded styles are more convenient and it's for efficiency, overall efficiency, because it limits the amount of work that you'll have to do with coding, because the inline styles, you'll have to recode that same thing over and over. Coded once in the header. Yep, they're only coded once. Reasons to use CSS on a web page include greater control of typography and page layout, style from structure, potentially smaller web page documents, and easier site maintenance because visitors may set their browsers to certain colors. It is a good idea when changing. It just provides contrast when you have the different colors and makes it easier to read, basically. Okay. So configuring text with CSS. In Chapter 2, you discovered how to use HTML to configure some characteristics of text on web pages, including phrase elements such as the strong element. You have also already configured text color using the CSS color property. In this section, you will learn to use CSS to configure font typeface. Using CSS to configure text is more flexible, especially when using an external style sheet, as you will discover later in this chapter, than using HTML elements, and is the method preferred by modern web developers. The font family property. The font family property configures font typeface. A web browser displays text, I don't know how to say that, depth and dimension to texting fonts that have been installed on the user's computer. When a font is specified that is not installed on your web visitor's computer, the default font is substituted. Times New Roman is the default font displayed by most web browsers. Figure 3.1 shows font family categories. So we have The Verdana, Dahoma, and Georgia font typeface were specifically designed to display well on computer monitors. A common practice is to use a serif font such as Georgia or Times New Roman for headings and a sans serif font such as Verdana or Arial for detailed text content. Not every computer has the same fonts installed. Create a built-in backup plan by listing multiple fonts and categories for the value of the font family property. The browser will attempt to use the fonts in the order listed. The following CSS configures the P element selector to display text in Arial if installed, Helvetica if installed, or the default installed sans serif font. All right, I think I'm gonna end it here because I'm going on almost an hour, but I will be finishing up my homework for this class tonight and then probably hop back on to finish up my Thinkful unit because that has been pushed way to the side, but I still want to finish it. So I will be hopping on here, but I'm gonna finish this up. Hope you guys have a great weekend and I'll see you whenever I go live again.